I done ran into my baby and finally found my old blue jean. I done ran into my baby and finally found my old blue jean.
Hey everyone, my name is David Shaw with Errant Empire Herbal Medicine, and I am a medical herbalist on Vancouver Island. Today we'll be talking about the early spring medicinal herb garden. I was walking through the garden the other day, just kind of getting ready for the transition into the next season, and I was just seeing these little plants start to shoot up after we had a big snow and then all the snow's melted. And I wanted to take some photos and some video of the garden, and I decided I'd talk about a few plants. So today we'll be talking about 3 plants, Valerian, lemon balm, and St. Johns Wort. The first plant is Valerian, the Latin name also Valeriana officinalis. This is a tall plant. It can grow anywhere from 4 to 5 feet with these pinnate leaves that come off the structure. We tend to harvest the root in the second year of growth, and if you look closely in these videos you can see the roots kind of popping up in the background. They're these bright yellow roots right now, and I think that has to do with maybe a little bit of oxidation, or maybe it's some protective barrier they have for the winter and the cold. We use this plant as an anxiolytic, as a sedative, antispasmodic, so it helps relax the muscles, it helps relax the digestive tract, and also in the cardiovascular system as a hypotensive. So we don't use it solely to lower somebody's blood pressure, but we use it alongside other measures taken, whether that's diet and lifestyle, or even conventional medicines that are used to lower blood pressure. On the energetic scale, this plant is sweet, bitter, and pungent. Pungent being a little spicy, I guess would be the way. If you've ever had valerian, it actually smells kind of nice inside of the tincture bottle or inside of the tea bag. But once it kind of touches the surface, it has a little stink to it. It's one of those stinky herbs. It's warming with cooling potential, so initially it will add some heat to the body, but it can cool down the system as it slows things down, being an antispasmodic. And we will use this plant for the constricted tissue state in Western energetics. Just something that I'd like to add in that I've been thinking about, and kind of if people are interested in expanding their herbal knowledge, is resources. If you're interested in Western energetics, Matthew Wood is amazing. This is his book on Western energetics and the tissue states, and a little bit of the history, where it comes from, how we use it as a description. And yeah, it's similar to traditional Chinese medicine or Ayurveda, but it's a Western tradition that's kind of just fallen through the cracks over the years. The next plant that you'll see on the video is lemon balm, also known as Melissa officinalis. You'll probably notice the last 2 herbs. The second name inside of those plant Latin names is officinalis. This really just means it was one of the official or original plants in the Western herbal medicine cabinet. This plant, after reading about it, says it can grow up to about 5 feet tall. It's not my experience with this plant in my garden. It usually gets about 2.5, maybe 3 feet, and produces yellow flowers. And it can produce anywhere from white to yellow flowers. And one of the major defining characteristic traits of these leaves is the deep veined toothed leaves with those little spikes coming out. Looks fairly similar to many of the other plants in the mint plant family and grows like them as well. Most of the plants in the mint plant family are very tenacious and they continue to just grow and grow. We tend to harvest the plant in June, July, August, when volatile oils are most concentrated, right before the flowers open. We're looking specifically for like the citral or citronellol is another volatile oil we're looking for. And it also has flavonoids and polyphenols inside of the plant. We use lemon balm as an uplifting nervine tonic, also known as a thymoleptic. This really kind of gives energy while supporting the nervous system. It can also be used for digestive purposes as relaxing the digestive tract, helping with gas and bloating, and somewhat helping with digestion altogether. One of the newest applications for lemon balm is its use in hyperthyroidism because of its ability to help lower hyperthyroid function. Conversely, we avoid this plant if somebody is in a hypothyroid state. Energetically, this plant is sour, so it activates the sour taste buds in the mouth. It's cooling overall, and we apply it to the excited tissue state. Excited tissue state, in a sense, is heat. If you want to look at it as an atom, and when an atom, or at least as they show it, the atom has electrons that go around the atom. As you create friction or add heat to the atom, that electron will keep going further and faster and faster and faster, and it will produce its own heat. That is the excited tissue state. The third plant we'll be talking about today is St. Johns Wort, and the Latin name for that one is Hypericum perforatum. The way this plant gets its name is perforatum actually is responsible for one of the major plant identifiers, which is if you take off a leaf and you hold it up to the sun, there's these oil glands inside of the leaf that are transparent, and you can actually see light coming through them, and that's where the Latin name comes from. This plant can grow upwards of 3 feet and has these beautiful yellow flowers that come out. This plant is native to Europe and Asia, and here on Vancouver Island it's known as an invasive species. Check with your local municipality. I don't see it as invasive, but it does have a very tenacious growth pattern. We harvest the leaves in June, July, and August, and if you have never made a St. Johns Wort oil with fresh plant, you're missing out. It's a beautiful oil that comes out bright red and has an amazing application for nerve pain and for tissue healing of topical application. Internally, we use this plant as a neurotropho-restorative. Quite often this plant gets pigeonholed as an antidepressant, and I'll put that in air quotes, antidepressant, because most herbalists don't look at it that way. St. Johns Wort helps to support the nervous system in excess stress and tonify the nervous system so that it's stronger in the future. The idea of it being an antidepressant is an oversimplification for most herbalists. As I mentioned already, it's a great vulnerary tissue healer, so you can use it for canker sores in the mouth, topically, and we even take it internally to help with gut inflammation. It's also known for antiviral properties, and then it's also well known for the research done on the active constituent hypericin, which comes with its own controversy. Hypericin is a liver inducer, so it helps upregulate liver function, which if you're taking dose critical medications, this can be a problem. So again, not every herb is for every person. Make sure to talk with an herbalist about plants and how they can work for you. Talk with your doctor if plants are the right way to go, but ultimately start the conversation with an herbalist. They know how plants work, and they do the research on what drugs they might interact with, what supplements they might interact with, or which tissue state you're in. So St. Johns Wort doesn't apply across the board for somebody that's in a depressed mood. Some depression is this heavy cloud that hangs over your head. Some depression is this heavy weight that feels in your body and you just feel stuck to the ground. And for some people, it's an anxiety state. So it'd be like bouncing back and forth from a hyper to a hypo state. So St. Johns Wort doesn't apply across the board that way either. It's very pungent, so it has that spiciness to it. It's slightly bitter, and it is cooling, so it will ultimately cool down the body. It has a drying aspect to it, which also is attributed to the astringency. You'll find that astringency in higher alcohol extracts of St. Johns Wort, which tends to have more of that hypericin in it. And we tend to use St. Johns Wort for the atrophic, constricted, and depressed tissue states in Western energetics. Well, that's a little mini walkthrough through my garden. I have probably about anywhere from 40 to 50 different plants in there, and I kind of let it go wild. That's one of my favorite aspects about being an herbalist and a gardener at the same time, is that I don't have this perfectly manicured garden. I do have the structure and the shape, the bones of the garden, if you will, but then I kind of let the plants do whatever they want. You know, I will clean up in places and move things around, but I love that these plants will put out their seeds and go wherever they feel like they go. And I know my wife, she's kind of irritated when you have California poppy springing up all over the garden. It's quite hilarious because they become weeds at that point. If you have any questions, any comments, please leave them below. My information's inside there. You can follow us on Patreon. You can follow us on our social media platforms of Rumble and YouTube as of right now. And yeah, we can start the conversation. You can email me or call me. We can start the conversation about herbs and herbal medicine and where you'd like to go. I hope all is well. Take care.
I done ran into my baby and finally found my old blue jean.